Big slate of MLB action on tap for September 25th, and we've got it all covered, from Reds vs Pirates to Mariners vs Rockies and everything in between. We're talking verified pitching matchups, bullpen edges, hot bats, strikeout props, home run shots, total bases, and the best angles straight from the betting markets. I'll break down where the value sits, where the traps are, and how to build those same-game parlays that actually make sense. If you're looking for edges, we've got them lined up game by game, so let's dive right in. Hunter Greene toes the rubber for Cincinnati and Paul Skeens draws the start for Pittsburgh. That's a true duel of firepower, and it smells like a low-scoring chess match. Greene's season has been elite. He's sitting with a SUB 3.00 era and north of 120 strikeouts on the year, the kind of profile that says, miss bats, limit damage, every time he takes the mound. Paul Skeens is the other side of the coin, a Cy Young candidate with an ERA around 2.03 and over 200 kiloseconds on the season, someone who compels pitchers' dual moneylines every time he's on the bump. Those two names alone tilt the market toward the under and force bettors to target matchup edges rather than raw run totals. The bullpens are the real hidden battlefield. Cincinnati's relief corps has been serviceable, middle of the league by most bullpen-era numbers and with a decent save conversion rate, but they've shown a few blown save moments this season. Pittsburgh's bullpen looks tidy on paper but has been used heavily when Skeens is on a short hook, which raises late-inning leverage questions. That workload factor is where the Reds can sniff value. If Skeens exits early, the Pirates will need multiple relievers to bridge the gap, and that's exactly the moment Cincinnati's lineup can pick up cheap runs. Monitor late-inning usage and any bullpen news before lock. Offensively, the matchup favors targeted player props more than broad team totals. Elly De La Cruz is the hot name. He's produced consistently against Pittsburgh over his career, popping homers and extra bases in this matchup, so an over on hits or total bases is a realistic play. Joey Bart has been finding the barrel lately for Pittsburgh and is a live long shot for a home run prop given his recent pop. Jared Triolo profiles as a gap-to-gap extra base threat in Great American Ballpark. Those individual spots are where you juice returns without having to pick a wide ML swing against two elite starters. Market context. Books are treating this as a pitcher's duel. Lines and totals have been sliding to the under across multiple books, and the Reds are the slight home favorite in most shops. That setup screams two things. Play the under if you want low variance, or attack props and same-game parlays (SGPs) to lift your edge if you're hunting plus EV. If the total sits around 7 and the Reds' ML is roughly -120 to -130, that's a typical equilibrium for a duel between two aces. Always check the live texture, first 5 lines, 1H totals, and bullpen usage before betting. My lean and ticket structure. Top single play is under the total, 7 or 7.0, 2 bona fide aces and 2 teams that have leaned under in recent matchups makes this the cleanest edge. For a side play, I prefer a Reds moneyline. The Reds' bullpen usage and the push of the home crowd give them the slimmest but actionable edge, especially if Skeens is on a pitch count and pulled early. Don't be cute with the run line unless you get +150 or better for Pittsburgh. For aggressive bettors, the SGP that balances risk-reward is Reds ML plus under 7 plus Elly De La Cruz over 0.5 hits. That combo mixes outcome and player prop without relying on longshot homers. If you want a safer two-leg, take Reds ML plus under 7. Adjust units according to bankroll and line movement. Specific props I like. Hunter Greene over 7.5 kiloseconds. Greene's K upside at home is real and Pittsburgh's lineup has strikeout tendencies against heaters. Paul Skeens under 2.5 walks. He's been stingy with free passes this season. Elly De La Cruz over 0.5 hits. De La Cruz's history versus Pitt and his overall split make that a reliable, low-juice play. Joey Bart home run, higher variance but a legit long shot given his recent power. If you prefer total bases plays, look for books posting De La Cruz at +125, +150 for 1 plus TB and Triolo in the plus EV range for a double extra base. Lock these only after checking the official lines. Props move fast on late scratches and hand reports. Angles and market tells to watch. 1. If Skeens gets through 5 clean, consider selling the Reds ML down to a first 5 innings play rather than a full game. The bullpen usage flips the value. 2. If Green's K prop shortens, line drops, it's a sign the books are getting sharp tickets. Switch to correlated plays, LE hit props, under. 3. Monitor same-day line movement on the total. If early money pushes the total lower, that often indicates sharp under action. 4. Public money will often lean Pirates when there's a young ace on the bump because names draw bets. Ignore the hype and focus on fundamentals, bullpen usage, park factors, and platoon splits. Those are the edges that pay over time. Final read. This should be a tight, tense game decided late. My playbook. Heavy lean to under 7. Secondary lean Reds ML. Prop plays on Green Ks and LE over hits, and an SGP of Reds ML plus under 7 plus LE over for more upside. Keep stakes proportional. Check line movement, and if any late scratches or bullpen changes drop in, Ray price immediately. Cash those tickets. Keep the voice calm when it matters, and let the process do the talking tonight. Baltimore's back home at Camden Yards and they'll send Tyler Wells to the mound, while Tampa Bay counters with Shane Baz. That pairing sets the tone. Wells is riding a small sample but showing efficiency in favorable matchups. Baz, on the road, has struggled to maintain consistency. In fact, recent previews and betting sites note that Baz has allowed 16 earned runs over his last 4 road starts across approximately 19.1 innings. That's a glaring red flag for Tampa's pitchers when traveling. Meanwhile, Baltimore's offense has shown life in this series opener and has had success against Tampa's arms historically. Wells brings a controlled arsenal, with swing and miss stuff and a game plan that limits walks. His effectiveness will depend on how deep he can go and preserve the pen. Baz, making his road turn, faces a lineup that sees his patterns well. He's shown vulnerabilities in allowing hard contact and in failing to sustain composure late. The matchup favors the home starter, especially in front of a crowd that always gets loud late in tight games. Baltimore's bullpen is under the spotlight. When Wells exits, whether early or mid, they must hold. They've had some shaky patches this season, but in favorable matchups versus weaker slates they've held their ground. Tampa's bullpen, conversely, is deeper on paper, better established arms, more reliable late innings. Some analysts peg the Rays' bullpen as a relative strength in this matchup. But roster usage and fatigue entering September can flip that equation fast. Offensively, Baltimore has some weapons that should be considered in prop land. Colton Cowser, Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westberg, all have shown pop and extra base ability, especially when facing pitchers with vulnerable secondaries. Cowser already launched a homer in Game 1. Against Tampa's rotation, Oriole hitters have been more comfortable putting the ball in play. For Tampa, Mike Brosseau is a known name who historically has done damage versus Baltimore. Career / versus O's. .322, .365, .729 with 8-hour in limited PA. His power upside in this spot is legit. The betting market is treating this as a closer game than Game 1. Lines are tighter, total is creeping upward in many books, and value is being weighed on both sides. Some previews are pushing the Rays side as value, citing bullpen strength, but I'm not sold. Go Upstate called Tampa Bay -105 the value side in one outlook. Bleacher Nation notes that when Baltimore is favored, they've struggled to cover ATS 30-32 record when favorite. But in these matchups, the home edge and pitching matchup are meaningful. My lean. I see this as another low to mid-scoring affair, tilted slightly toward Baltimore given matchups, crowd, and the way the Rays have been handling travel work. I'm locking under the total, likely in the 8.5-9.0 range depending on book, as my primary play. The reasons: Wells holding shape, Baz's struggles on the road, and bullpen depth on both sides, When you've got two sides with bullpen questions, the under is often the cleanest route. For side action, I lean Orioles moneyline if the odds are palatable, better than -125. The marginal edge is with Baltimore in this spot. Don't get cute on run lines unless massive value opens. For aggressive bettors, I'll build a same-game parlay. Orioles ML plus under plus cows or over hits. That gives you game outcome plus total plus player prop balance. A tighter two-leg could be Orioles ML plus under, safer, cleaner. Props I like. Cowser over 0.5 hits, Henderson over 1.5 total bases, Mike Brosseau home run, long shot with upside, Baz over 4.5 kiloseconds, if books offer that, hoping he'll try to nibble hitters on the edges, Wells under 2.5 walks. Watch those lines. Prop markets always move late once scratches or hand reports leak. Angle to monitor. If Baz's line for Ks drops fast, it might mean books are getting sharp sweat. That's a spot to pivot into correlated props, hits, total bases instead of full game. Also, if early inning action pushes the total downward, it's a sign under is getting respect and could be the place to double down. Lastly, reverse splits in Tampa's lineup versus righties. If Baltimore throws heavy righty mix, certain Tampa hitters struggle more than usual. Final red. I expect something like a 4-2 or 5-3 finish. It'll be close, tense. My horse is Baltimore, but this one's not screaming runaway. My bets. Under. Moderate Orioles ML, Cowser over, Henderson TB over, if TB offered, and Brosseau HR for a flyer. Parlay with Orioles ML plus under plus Cowser is where I'd fire for upside. Keep tickets light until you see final scratches, bullpen reports, and line flow. That's your blueprint. Cash the ones that hit and let process drive your profits. Jacob deGrom toes the rubber for the Rangers and Taj Bradley gets the ball for the Twins. That's the headline and it changes everything about how you play this one. deGrom's been the clean, battle-tested veteran all year with a SUB 3.10 era and the kind of wipeout swing and miss stuff that turns tough matchups into low-scoring affairs. Bradley, meanwhile, has electric stuff but a season full of up-and-down results and a higher era that invites lineup exploitation if he's tipping or falling behind hitters early. Those two names alone push this into target matchup props and under territory rather than wild run line swings. The first thing you have to respect is park and pitch sequencing. Globe Life favors barrels and long flies more than most, but when a true shutdown arm like deGrom is on, the park edge shrinks. He's got the command to avoid the mistake pitch that turns into a 3-run inning. Bradley's profile is the flip side, strikeout upside but walk in hard contact. Spikes in the middle innings. If he falls behind, Twins offense, even with its flaws this year, will try to turn short counts into extra base hits. That split between veteran control and a boom or bust youngster is where I'm finding my edges. Bullpen leverage is huge here. Texas's relief corps has been leaned on but features high-leverage arms who will close traffic quickly. They're not immune to meltdowns, but depth at the back end keeps the swing window small. Minnesota's pen has had flashes, clean innings interspersed with usage issues, and with a rookie starter who could be on a limit, the Twins may have to ride the pen earlier than they'd like. That creates a two-phase bet structure. If Bradley is under pitch count and hooks early, the Twins' win expectancy drops and the books will adjust, which is exactly when correlated props, first 5 runs, green per kilosecond style plays in other games become useful. Monitor bullpen pull times and last-minute usage reports. They'll tell you whether to trust the full-game moneyline or flip to a first 5 or inning-specific hedge. Offensively, key names to circle for prop work are Byron Buxton for Minnesota and Wyatt Langford, Josh Jung for Texas. Buxton still carries 30-plus homer power and is a one-swing game changer. He's a legit long-shot HR ticket if you want an equity play. Langford and Jung are the Rangers' run producers. If deGrom has a rocky first, they're the ones who can punish the Twins' pen. Those individual matchups are your high ROI spots. Buxton long shot bombs, Langford extra base props, Jung RBI total bases tickets. Check the books for Langford total bases lines. Those often hide good value when DeGrom is on shorter leashes. From a market perspective, the books peg Texas as the stronger side at home and the totals have hovered in the 7 to 8 range depending on the shop. Historical matchup trends favor the under in several recent Twins games, and action will likely push the total down if early sharp money comes in on DeGrom's strikeout prop or a first 5 innings lean. Public money can overreact to names. Don't be the sucker that takes the chalk just because a headline pulls the bets. Use the first pitch line in the first 5 market to decide whether you want exposure to a full game ML or a safer, higher frequency small unit on the first 5. My ticket sheet. Primary single play is under the total, 7.0 minus 7.5 depending on book. DeGrom reduces perimeter run probability and Bradley's highs are tempered by Twins' inconsistency. Secondary single is Rangers moneyline at home if the number is minus 220 or better. Texas's bullpen and lineup structure give them a measurable edge late. For props, I'm taking Byron Buxton long shot HR for a small unit high variance, high upside Wyatt Langford over total bases, or Langford RBI if available, and Jacob deGrom over 6.5 kiloseconds. He's the K engine that makes unders more probable. Correlated SGP. Rangers ML plus under plus DeGrom over Ks for a balanced same-game parlay that links the pitcher performance to the game total and outcome. If you want a conservative 2-leg, go Rangers ML plus under. Live tells and angle work. 1. If Bradley's first inning pitch count spikes or he loses the zone early, flip away from Twins full game ML and consider first 5 hedges. 2. If DeGrom's K prop shortens rapidly, it's a sign sharp money is on the under. Pivot to correlated hits total bases rather than jam more into the money line. 3. Watch late scratches. Rangers have shut down pieces this month and any lineup alteration can change matchups enough to reprice props. 4. Look at the 1H total. If books post a low first 5 number and the public backs Rangers, that's often the line to back for lower variance. Those micro moves are what separates the grinders from the noise takers. Final read. Expect a tense, pitcher-controlled game that finishes in the single digits. My lean. Under plus Rangers ML with discrete prop exposure to DeGrom Ks and Langford total bases, and a small long shot on Buxton to keep things exciting. Keep stakes proportional. Monitor the first 2 innings for pitch counts and bullpen heat, and be ready to hedge into the first 5 if Bradley's outing goes south early. That's the playbook. Concise, aggressive where it pays, conservative where the data insists. Cash the plays that match your unit plan and let the process do the work. Tonight's stage is set. The Oakland A's battle Houston in a spot where the Astros are feeling the urgency. Houston has to dig deep here. They'll send Hunter Brown to the hill, while Oakland counters with Luis Severino. Brown enters this with a sterling 2.30 ERA and 201 strikeouts on the season, anchoring a staff that's been one of the more consistent pitching units in the league lately. Severino, on the other hand, has struggled to keep consistency. His line sits around 7-11 with a 4.72 ERA and a 1.33 WHIP. That disparity in consistency is the fulcrum for tonight's plays. Brown, when locked in, is the kind of ace who suffocates offense. Severino is more boom or bust, opening windows that Houston's lineup and bullpen will try to exploit. The bullpen matchup heavily favors Houston. Their relief core is anchored by Josh Hader, with 28 saves, and fortified by setup arms like Brian Abreu, Brian King, etc. Houston's bullpen has been a consistent weapon, and they'll need it again if Brown doesn't go deep. Oakland's bullpen is more fragile. They don't have the same depth of shutdown arms and have shown cracks late in games when starter performance falters. That tilts leverage toward Houston. Even if Severino gives them some trouble, the Astros can lean on bullpen support to hold late. Oakland's offense is interesting for props. The A's have a team slash roughly .253, .318, .432. With batters like Brent Rooker, 162 hits, Jacob Wilson, high BA, Nick Kurtz, 33-hour, making noise. Houston, meanwhile, features Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena BA approximately .304, and Christian Walker leading in RBIs. Brown's reputation for suppressing runs is strong. In his recent stretch, he's given up 2 or fewer earned in many starts. That means Oakland has to manufacture offense or force mistakes. On the prop board, that gives value to Brown over Ks, Pena over total bases, or Walker RBI lines. Also, Kurtz homers or Wilson extra bases could pay off if Severino leaves the door open. The market is pricing this as a somewhat tight battle. Most books list the Astros as slight favorites, ML around -132 or thereabouts. The total often sits near 9 over under approximately 9.0, not absurdly low or high, which suggests books expect moderate offense. In many previews, the pick leans Astros, equity play in the ML because of pitching and bullpen edges. Some modelers even favor Houston to cover run lines if he's sharp. My lean: I expect a mid-single-digit game. Under 9 runs is my top play. Brown, when locked, will clamp down. Severino might gift a run or two, but the A's offense is not deep enough to fully exploit late. Because bullpen depth favors Houston, extra offense is unlikely. For side, I lean Astros ML. If the number is around -130 or better, it's acceptable given Brown plus bullpen edge. Avoid the +1.5 unless value surfaces strongly. For props, favorite plays: Hunter Brown over 7.5 kiloseconds, he routinely clears 8 when things go right. Jeremy Pena over 1.5 total bases. Jose Altuve over hits. Nick Kurtz home run, long shot but a dangerous sleeper. Severino under 3.5 earned runs if he keeps his composure. For extra bases, Wilson TB over could have merit. For SGP, same game parlays, build balanced combos. Astros ML plus under 9 plus Brown over Ks is my go-to for mid-risk. If you want tighter, Astros ML plus under 9 as a 2-leg stays efficient. If you want juiced upside, add Pena over TB or Kurtz hour. Watch these live tells. If Brown's K prop shortens drastically before lock, it's a sign sharp money app is on his total. That's your signal to pivot into correlated betting, props or partial hedges. If Severino's earned run line inflates late, that's also a pull signal. Monitor bullpen pull times, usage alerts, and hand reports. They can flip value quickly. If Houston starts getting early runs, total can collapse, but if the game stays tight into middle innings, the under becomes more trustworthy. Final call. This game is about control. My lean: under 9, Astros ML, Brown over Ks, Pena Altuve hits total bases. The SGP with ML plus under plus Brown Ks is where I'll fire most units. Be nimble, watch line flow. That's the blueprint. Back your units and let sharp edges carry the risk. Tonight's Game 5 between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Dodgers is the kind of late-season slugfest that makes you lock the front door and pay attention. We've got Blake Snell for the Dodgers squaring off against Ryan Nelson, as the books list tonight, and that matchup alone forces you to attack the game with pitcher-first thinking and player-prop creativity. Snell's been a true back-end ace this year, SUB 3.00 era in his last stretch and the swing-and-miss profile to pile up Ks, while Nelson has been solid enough to keep Arizona in it but gives you more exploitable contact moments than a flamethrower. When you pair Snell's K upside with Nelson's contact rate, you get a market that loves the under and loves correlated props, first 5 totals, starter K lines, and selective long shots from the pen. Bullpen texture is the hidden battlefield here. The Dodgers' pen showed cracks in the most recent meeting. A late collapse handed Arizona a walk-off and exposed fatigue and control issues in high-leverage frames. So while Los Angeles still boasts high-end arms, the leverage of late innings is not a lock. Arizona's bullpen has been competent and, in spots, opportunistic. Those late innings go a long way in this series when margins are thin. The market is rightly watching usage patterns and the "who's available" reports, because if Snell leaves early for any reason, the Dodgers' bullpen could be a vulnerability, and if Nelson can keep it competitive into the 6th, Arizona's bench and matchup hitters become live. Offensively, the board is juicy for props. Arizona's recent winners have come from small ball and timely clouts. Geraldo Perdomo delivered the walk-off last time, and Adrian Del Castillo's pinch hit homer showed the depth of the lineup. Corbin Carroll and Kettle Marte remain the top game swingers for Arizona and are the primary targets for multi-bases and run-scored tickets. For LA, the story is power and lineup balance. Teoscar Hernandez and Freddie Freeman give you both extra base and RBI upside, and the Dodgers' depth means you can price in consistent production even against quality arms. Those are the names you want in TB, total bases, plays and RBI props. Market context. Most books have this as a Dodgers lean with a total floating in the high 7s to 8.5 range depending on the shop, and that's sensible given Snell's K upside and Nelson's contact profile. When the total sits there, the cleanest low variance route is the under or first 5 under, but the real plus EV work is in linking starter performance to props via same-game parlays. For example, Snell over K's correlated with an under total and a Corbin Carroll under over depending on count-based lines. The public loves big names, the sharps love leverage and correlation. Watch early ticket flow on Snell's K market. If it shortens fast, that's a sharp tell that the under will be respected and correlated props will juice. My ticket plan. Primary single is under the total, look for a line in the high 7s to 8.5, 2 starters who can suppress damage plus recent bullpen usage trends make the under the cleanest play. Secondary single is Dodgers moneyline if the price is around or better than -140. The Dodgers have more lineup depth and, even with recent bullpen shakiness, still project to outscore late. For player props, I want Blake Snell over his K line, his swing and miss is a matchup weapon, Geraldo Perdomo over 0.5 hits, recent form and at bat impact, Corbin Carroll over total bases if books offer a favorable number, and a small unit on Teoscar Hernandez long shot HR because the power profile and chase rates against righties give it pull. If you like bullpen plays, a low unit flyer on a Dodgers reliever to allow a run after the 6th can be a plus EV hedge if Snell leaves early. Same game parlay SGP ideas that balance risk. Conservative 2-leg, Dodgers ML plus under covers outcome and tempo. Balanced 3-leg, Dodgers ML plus under plus Snell over K's ties starter performance to the game result. Juicy upside 4-leg, Dodgers ML plus under plus Snell over K's plus Perdomo over hits, add a small unit here, higher variance but correlated. For parlay legs, always avoid stacking 2 volatile longshots. 1 longshot is okay, 2 kills your edge. If you want a first 5 pivot, take under 4.5 first 5 and a starter K prop, safer and higher frequency. Tells and in-game angle pivots. If Snell's K prop shortens early, that usually means sharp tickets are moving the under and you pivot to correlated props rather than full game spreads. If Nelson's fastball location wobbles in the first 2 frames, high pitch counts, early walks move away from Arizona ML and lock a first 5 hedge. Watch bench lineup changes and any late scratches. Chase Field's homers can flip totals quickly if weather or a last-minute lineup change favors the Dodgers' power side. Bottom line. This smells like a tight, tense finish. I'm leaning under plus Dodgers ML, backing Snell for extra Ks and taking correlated TB RBI props on Carroll, Marte and Hernandez as value plays. Keep units disciplined, watch live line flow, and don't be married to a parlay if the in-game picture shifts, hedge into first 5 if starters falter. Cash the clean edges and let the process handle the variance tonight. We've got Jesus Luzardo on the bump for Philadelphia and Ryan Weathers for Miami, a lefty versus lefty duel that sets the tone for a pitcher's day. Luzardo has been solid all year, logging a 14-7 record with an ERA hovering around 4.08 and more than 200 strikeouts on the season. He's always had that high whiff stuff, especially when he's locked in, and his home splits lean better than his road ones. Meanwhile, Weathers, though with less innings volume, has shown flashes in limited use. 2-1, 3.21 ERA, with a respectable K.B.B. control in his appearances. The caveat is his workload. He usually doesn't push deep into games, so the Marlins bullpen will matter. The bullpen matchup is a battlefield. Phillies relief arms have had ups and downs, but in front of a home crowd and with postseason attitude lingering, they'll be ready for high-leverage work. For Miami, their pen is serviceable but not elite, especially if Weathers leaves early. The wear and tear of September workloads could show. If Luzardo punches 6 innings and leaves with a lead, the leverage falls to Phillies' bullpen advantage. If Weathers lasts only 4 to 5 innings, the Marlin relievers will need to cover ground, and that's where Philadelphia's depth gives them breathing room. Offensively, the boards light up for props. For the Phillies, Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, and Bryson Stott are prime targets. Harper has power, Schwarber has long ball upside, Turner gives you speed, hits value, and Stott is a consistent contact threat. For Miami, Xavier Edwards in the leadoff role has been hitting to get on base, Heriberto Hernandez has pop in his bat, and Otto Lopez often shows in the run RBI lines. The matchup of lefties against lefties changes pitcher usage and pitch selection, but those bats still hold value in props because they can beat you without imposing huge hours. From recent previews, Marlins props like over total bases, over hits plus RBIs for Edwards, and home run overs for Hernandez get flagged by betting models. Market pricing favors the Phillies. Most books list them as favorites -160 to -200 range, with a total in the 7.5 to 8.5 zone depending on the shop. FanDuel shows Phi -164, Marlins +138, and total at 7.5. Some models move toward the over side of 8.5 when factoring in Philadelphia's home power and Miami's recent attack. Others lean toward the Phillies -1.5 at plus money, e.g. +110, as a top pick. The market tells me this is viewed as a moderate margin buy, not a blowout. My lean. I expect a close, tense battle that tilts Phillies' way. My favorite play is Phillies -1.5 +110 or better. I believe Luzardo's strikeout edge, home crowd, and bullpen depth will allow a multi-run margin if Philly can scratch early. As a safer statistical hedge, under the total, 7.5 or 8.0, depending on the book, as strong. 2 lefty pitchers, controlled starters, and bullpen questions on Miami all point toward suppressed offense. For player props, here's where I'll attack. Jesus Luzardo over 7.5 kiloseconds. He's got the swing and miss pitch, and Marlins hitters chase. Bryce Harper home run is a long shot but viable in a favorable count. Kyle Schwarber RBI or total bases over, with his power upside against southpaws. Xavier Edwards over hits plus RBIs, he profiles to get on base and drive runs in this matchup. Heriberto Hernandez HR overs carry upside. Also, Bryson Stott hit over is low volatility and often overlooked. For SGP parlay combos, Type 2 leg is Phillies -1.5 plus under. Balanced 3 leg, Phillies -1.5 plus under plus Luzardo over K's ties starter performance to game outcome. If you want a 4 leg with more juice, Phillies -1.5 plus under plus Luzardo over K's plus Harper HR or substitute Schwarber TB. Just don't overstack volatile pieces. If you want a first 5 hedge, under 4.5 first 5 innings plus Luzardo over K5 first 5 is safer. Watch live tells. If Luzardo's K prop shortens early, that's a sharp signal. Lean toward correlated props over betting more on side. If Weathers, line for innings allowed drops, line makers anticipating pull, pivot away from Marlins ML or cover your parlay. Monitor bullpen pull times and availability whispers. If Miami's relief arms are taxed or unavailable, that pushes the bet toward Philly. Also, lineup news. If Philly rests a front bat, the value shifts. Bottom line. Tight game. I lean Phillies -1.5, with under, some aggressive prop calls on Luzardo K's, and Harper, Schwarber upside. Build your SGP accordingly, hedge if starters falter, and let live line flow refine your bets. Ride the edge and stay disciplined. Tonight's tilt between the Cleveland Guardians and Detroit Tigers is the kind of late-season chess match that separates grinders from gamblers. Jack Flaherty draws for Detroit while Tanner Bibee gets the ball for Cleveland, and that pitching pairing alone forces you to think matchup props, first five hedges, and under-lean strategies rather than blind run-line slaps. Flaherty has shown flashes this year but been up and down overall. He's sitting with an ERA north of the mid-fours and a decent strikeout floor but with control concerns that can hand free base runners to a hungry Guardians lineup. Bibee, by contrast, has been the steadier option for Cleveland this month, eating innings and limiting hard contact enough that the Guardians have ridden him into some late September momentum. Those starter profiles tilt the early market. If you want lower variance, target starter strikeout lines and first five totals. If you want higher upside, look to same-game parlays that link Bibee Ks to a Guardians ML. Bullpen texture decides the late innings here. Detroit's pen can be jagged. Capable arms exist, but overuse and fatigue have shown at times, while Cleveland's relievers have delivered in bunches during this September surge. The Guardians are 17-5 this month and their bullpen's ability to hold small leads has been a big reason why. That makes a two-phase betting approach attractive. Back the Guardians early in the game via small first five plays or hitter props, and if Bibee eats five and leaves with the lead, move into a larger full-game Guardians exposure. Conversely, if Flaherty's control wobbles early and Detroit manufactures free runs, pivot to Tigers' first five hedges and tighten parlay legs. Monitor inning-by-inning pull times. That's where you can flip a losing position into a hedge without eating huge juice. Offense and player prop targets are where you extract plus EV. Cleveland's lineup features high-impact guys who drive extra bases and manufacture runs in tight games. Jose Ramirez and the top of the order are the usual suspects for multi-bases and RBI lines, while Detroit's Riley Green and the middle of their order remain power threats that can break a pitcher's duel with one swing. Target low juice, high-frequency props. Ramirez over 0.5 hits, a green long ball ticket for a small unit, and look for total bases lines on Cleveland's lefty killers if Flaherty shows any command issues to the outer part of the plate. When two starters of these profiles face off, the best angle is often batter-level expected value instead of the full-game ML. Smaller stakes, higher frequency, better ROI over time. Market frame and recommended tickets. Books are pricing this as a tight contest with totals around 7.0-7.5 and a slight lean to the home Guardians, which tracks with the two starters and the late-season intensity. My cleanest single is a first five under. The starter duel makes early scoring less likely, and a medium-sized Guardians moneyline if Bibee shows through five. For players, I'm buying Jose Ramirez over 0.5 hits, Riley Green hour, small unit, and Flaherty over 4.5 kiloseconds if the line is friendly. Flaherty still offers a usable K floor on the right day. For SGPs, a balanced three-leg that links starter performance to outcome is smart. Guardians ML plus first five under plus Ramirez over 0.5 hits. That ties the team result to starter control and a top-order hitter. If you want a conservative two-leg, Guardians ML plus first five under is the clean play. Live tells and pivot rules you must follow. If Bibee's K prop shortens quickly pre-lock, that's a sharp signal the under is getting love. Pivot to correlated props hits total bases rather than bloating your ML exposure. If Flaherty's first inning shows high pitch counts or early walks, hedge aggressively into first five Tigers plays and trim parlay legs. Watch for injury lineup news. Late scratches in either order will reprice correlated TB and RBI props faster than the ML. Finally, bankroll discipline. Small units on props, medium on first five, and larger only when starters clear five clean innings with the lead, keeps variance manageable and lets process compound into profit. Final read. Expect a tense, low to mid-scoring game decided late. My personal structure tonight is small multi-unit plays on starter K lines, Flaherty and Bibee, a medium play on Guardians ML, if -140 or better, a primary low variance first five under, and a three-leg SGP tying Guardians ML plus first five under plus Ramirez over. Keep eyes on bullpen pull times and pregame line movement. If anything shifts, reprice immediately and don't be sentimental. Cash the ones that match your unit plan, and let small edges do the heavy lifting over the long run. The Yankees roll into this one with Max Fried on the mound, and they'll face Fraser Ellard for Chicago. Fried is having one of his best seasons, somewhere in the 2.90 era territory, with north of 180 strikeouts, and a reputation for locking in deep when the game matters. Ellard is more of a back-end spot starter, 0-2, approximately 4.50 era in this role, a pitcher who gives you swing and miss upside but also contact risks. That dichotomy forces you to tilt the lean toward New York's control and depth while saving exposure via props rather than overcommitting to the full run line. New York's bullpen is one of its advantages. With high leverage arms and a mix of reliable late arms, they can close gaps if Fried exits early. Chicago's pen is serviceable. Mixed results, moments of clean frames, but it lacks dominators and has been exposed in long games. That means if Fried is even average through 5, the bullpen edge likely drifts heavily Yankees' way. That setup is ideal for second-half bets and late props. Lineup props are gold mines here. On the Yankees' side, Aaron Judge is always in play. His splits versus lefties are elite, and when the game leans toward contact suppression, Judge's extra base ability gives him upside in TB and total bases. Also look for Anthony Volpe, DJ LeMahieu, and, small, players like Jose Caballero for hit steal or hit combos. For the White Sox, Colson Montgomery has shown occasional homer pop. Yoendris Gomez, if in the lineup, gives volatility in the power mix. But the big mismatch is New York's offense versus Ellard's control, that should open lines in props. From the market side, books are treating this as a strong Yankees lean. Odds show New York as a heavy favorite, run lines in the -1.5 range, and total around 8.0. The market clearly expects New York to dominate. But when the total is near 8.0 and one starter has a significantly better profile, the under becomes tempting if you believe Fried can suppress damage. One public betting angle I see: bettors will likely pile on Yankees ML and run line early, pushing value inward. Sharp money may wait and attack prop lines like Judge TB or Fried Ks when they shorten. My lean: take the Yankees moneyline if the price is reasonable, -200 or better depending on book. The under approximately 8.0 is very attractive, especially if Fried's K prop begins shortening pregame. For props, my core bets would be Fried over Ks, line likely 7.5 or 8.5, Judge over 1.5 total bases, Volpe over hits, and Colson Montgomery home run, small unit due to variance. For TB plays, Judge and Volpe are safe anchors. Fantasy splits often favor them in such matchups. My SGP parlay build: safe 2-leg is Yankees ML plus under 8. Mid-risk 3-leg, Yankees ML plus under plus Fried over Ks ties starter performance to result. High upside 4-leg, Yankees ML plus under plus Fried over Ks plus Judge TB over. Always keep one prop leg rather than stacking two high volatility bombs. If you want a first 5 hedge, under 4.5 first 5 innings plus Fried over K5 is a smart lean with lower variance. Watch live tells. If Fried's K prop shortens sharply before lock, that's a clear sharp signal and worth pivoting more capital into correlated props TB, hits rather than run line. If Ellard's earned run line inflates, it might hint books expect early damage, so shift away from White Sox ML. Also monitor bullpen usage whispers. If Chicago's relievers are taxed or unavailable, that amplifies the Yankees' late game edge. Finally, if any lineup news breaks, Judge sitting, etc., reprice immediately. My final read: this game will lean Yankees, but not blowouts. Expect a 5-2 or 6-3 finish. My structure tonight: moderate bet on Yankees ML, lean under 8, aggressive prop bets on Fried Ks, Judge TB, and a small flyer on Montgomery Hour. Parlay with ML plus under plus Fried Ks is where I'll fire biggest. Stick to position sizing discipline. Monitor pregame line flow, and hedge promptly if anything shifts. Cash the ones that make sense and let the process carry the variance. The Blue Jays and Red Sox lock horns in what projects to be a grinding, high-stakes tilt. Brian Bello toes the rubber for Boston while Shane Bieber draws the start for Toronto, and that coupling alone forces the market into pitcher-first thinking. Bello's season profile shows reliable command and an ERA in the low to mid-threes, the kind of arm that keeps hitters off balance with a steady plan to limit hard contact. Bieber, when right, is a swing-and-miss machine who can rack Ks and eat innings, which makes the first 5 frames the most important window for both clubs. Those two starters compress variance. If Bieber is on, Toronto can grind out traction against a controlled Bello. If Bello is locked, Boston's bullpen depth and matchup arms will matter late. Take the starting pitcher matchup seriously. It's the game's spine and where you want most of your correlated plays to hinge. The bullpens tell the late-inning story. Boston's relief corps has been sharp lately, delivering high-leverage outs when it counted in the series and carrying momentum from recent wins. Their ability to hold close innings makes first 5 strategies more credible when Bello departs with a lead. Toronto's pen is deeper in raw arms but has shown fatigue signs in heavy usage stretches, and that creates a live late-game edge for the Red Sox if Toronto can't keep Bieber in long enough. In practical terms, if the starter leaves in the 6th with the game tied, lean to the side with the fresher bullpen and play the correlated props. Walk, strikeout lines, reliever inherits, and RBI odds, rather than a straight run line shove. The market will react to bullpen news. Watch the available arms reports and any whispered workload updates. Offense here is about matchup hunting and hand reports. Toronto's lineup is carrying names who can punish mistakes. The Jays have balance through the order and can string together situational hits, while Boston features guys who swing with impact and will take advantage of any mistake in the zone. That means the highest expected value plays are hitter props tied to plate appearances over 0.5 hits for the top 3 total bases lines for the better extra base threats, and selective home run flyers on the power guys if the book's offering long plus EV. Don't ignore platoon splits. If a lefty bat in the Boston order racks better numbers versus right-handed two-seamers, that's where you press your lower juice TB plays and single-unit longs on homers. Correlate those bets with expected starter performance. For example, Bieber over his K-line and a Toronto top-order hit prop is a classic same-game pairing. Market texture. Books are treating this as a tight contest with the line moving around a 1-run margin and totals sitting in the high 7s to 8s in most shops. DraftKings and FanDuel show nuanced spreads and an OU that suggests the smart money is weighing both the starters and late-game bullpen depth. That range tells you 2 things. 1. This is not a blowout chalk. There's value in correlated props and first 5 plays if you want lower variance, and 2. The moneyline is survivable if priced at reasonable juice but avoid overpaying for run-line insurance. The cleanest conservative structure is to back a first 5 under or starter K prop plus 1 top-order hit prop. If you want more upside, add a 2-leg SGP, starter K line plus team total bases leg. Check live books for minute K line movement. When Snell or Bieber K props shorten, that's usually a sharp tell. My actionable sheet. Primary, low variance play is first 5 under. Starters of this quality compress early scoring and make 0 to 3 run frames common. Secondary, moderate play is take the moneyline on the side with the fresher bullpen at lock only if ML juice is sensible. For props, target top order over 0.5 hits for whichever club you project to get the first good counts, a starter K's over for Bieber if his line looks beatable, and a small unit on a home run ticket for a high barrel contact bat if the market offers plus EV. SGP ideas that balance risk. 2-leg conservative, first 5 under plus starter K's over. 3-leg balanced, team ML plus first 5 under plus top order hit over. This ties starter performance to team outcome and a high probability hitter. Small long shot leg to sprinkle, a bench bat with recent pop for a homer ticket. Live pivots and tells to watch. If Bieber's K line shortens pre-lock, That's your hint to pile into correlated Toronto props, but if Bello shows low first inning pitch counts and early hooks for Bieber, flip to Boston first 5 or partial hedges. Monitor bullpen availability alerts. Fatigue or scratches will flip value fast. And always size props small relative to your ML exposure. Props juice and variance will burn you if you overstack volatile legs. This is a chess match, not a coin flip. Play the micro edges and let process compound your wins. The stage is Wrigley Field, Mets road team, Cubs at home. The probable pitching matchup tonight brings Matthew Boyd for Chicago 13-8, 3.20 ERA versus Jonah Tong for New York 2-2, 5.94 ERA. Boyd enters with more stability. He's been one of Chicago's more dependable arms down stretch, though he has had his share of rough outings. Tong, on the other hand, is higher variance, capable of strong strikeout innings but also vulnerable when hitters square him up. That contrast sets up a classic favorite versus underdog duel. Boyd is the safer base, Tong is the upside bait. The bullpen picture is one of the most telling edges in this game. The Cubs' bullpen for 2025 shows good depth. Their team bullpen era ranks among the tighter units in the league. Cubs bullpen era approximately 3.83, with a whip near 1.23, showing they limit base runners better than many. The Mets bullpen isn't bad, era approximately 3.95, whip approximately 1.31, but isn't quite as efficient. They give you strikeouts, but also more walks and occasional big swings. That discrepancy becomes crucial if either starter leaves early. If Boyd exits after 6, Chicago should be able to ride the pen. If Tong gets knocked early, Mets bullpen will be tested, and that's where correlated props become your lifeline. Offensively, the boards light up with prop potential. Chicago's offense can rebound at home, especially versus righties. With Boyd on the mound, top-of-order hitters, guys who get consistent at-bats, are the safer prop targets over 0.5 hits, total bases lines. The Mets, in need of urgency, wild card implications, will look for power in their middle order. Those homer props on Mets sluggers off Boyd become tempting, especially in later innings if Cubs starter shows fatigue. Also watch for extra base hit spreads. When the under is expected, total bases lines often hide value. The betting market reflects this dual confidence in Boyd and caution with Tong. Lines have Cubs as slight favorites, Chicago's ML around -120, Mets +100. The run line number is tight, and the total is around 7. The over-under suggests the sportsbooks lean toward a pitcher's duel scenario. Some analysts flag that Boyd's recent second-half starts have been shaky, which opens a crack for the Mets to exploit with power or bullpen demand. Others note that Tong's high era is concerning, but his strikeout capability means in the right matchup he can turn the game on its head. My lean. I like Cubs moneyline. That's my base case if Chicago's relievers are healthy. My play is mildly sized, because Tong carries swing potential. For the total, I lean under 7, or as close to that line as the books post. The starters and bullpen matchups suggest scoring will be squeezed. On props, my core plays. Jonah Tong over his K line, he has upside when in rhythm. Cubs top order over 0.5 hits. Mets homer prop, small unit, off Boyd, long shot but upside, total bases over on Cubs hitters if lines allow, and possibly Boyd over 2.5 earned runs. Boyd has given up multiple runs in several recent starts, and that line often gets underpriced due to his season reputation. For parlay SGP structure, conservative 2-leg, Cubs ML plus under 7. Balanced 3-leg, Cubs ML plus under plus Tong over Ks ties the surprise starter performance to result. High upside 4-leg, Cubs ML plus under plus Tong over Ks plus Mets homer. Don't overstack. One volatile leg is enough. If you want a first 5 hedge, under 3.5 for first 5 innings plus top order hit prop is a safer lean. Late pivots and tells to watch. If Tong's K line shortens pre-lock, that means sharp money's eyeing his upside. Shift more into correlated hits and TB props rather than overbetting the ML. If Boyd's earned run line inflates, it signals weakness in his recent form. That might be your door to push Mets props or partial hedges. Monitor bullpen usage whispers and last-minute scratches. If Mets relievers are taxed, lean Chicago more aggressively. Also keep an eye on first-inning run flow. Early scoring, or lack thereof, gives clue whether the under will hold. Final read. Expect a tense, low to mid-scoring game decided late. My structure tonight centers moderate confidence on Cubs ML, lean to under, aggressive props on Tom K's and Cubs hitters, and a small longshot homer play on Mets. Parlay with ML plus under plus Tom K's is where I'll deploy medium units. Lock your lines early, monitor pregame moves, and hedge if starter metrics deviate. Ride your edges, manage variance, that's how you win over the long haul. Tonight's tilt in Anaheim is a classic mismatch on paper but a live betting chess match in reality. The Kansas City Royals roll in riding momentum and the Los Angeles Angels are trying to stop the skid, and the probable pitching matchup Yusei Kikuchi for the Angels versus Cole Ragans for the Royals alone gives you everything you need to think like a grinder. Kikuchi's been hittable at times this month, and Ragans, coming off an injury return, showed 10 kiloseconds in his last turn and looks capable of swingy, dominant innings when his heater's on. That contrast, veteran control versus bounce-back upside, makes me want to structure tickets around starter outcomes and bullpen leverage rather than a blind run-line shove. Bullpens decide the late frames here. The Angels' relief corps has been one of the more concerning stories this season. Inconsistent, with blown save moments that show up at exactly the wrong time, while the Royals' pen has been solid enough to keep KC in games even when the offense sputters. If Ragans exits early or Kikuchi gives up a crooked inning, the team with the fresher arms will have the larger edge. Right now the market is giving the Royals a tangible bullpen advantage, which is why moneyline and late-inning plays on KC carry extra weight. Watch high leverage availability and recent bullpen workloads in the 24 hours prior to lock. That's where your live pivots will be made. Offense and props are where the real plus EV lives tonight. The Angels have been scuffling overall. Recent form shows they're not getting on base at the clip they need, but they still carry damage threats. Late homers have popped up and they'll swing for runs in bunches. Mike Trout remains the premier boom or bust payline. His splits against righties this year show he can still be a force in single appearances. So low variance plays like Trout over 0.5 hits or Trout over total bases are the sort of tickets that pay off more often than not. For Kansas City, Salvador Perez and Michael Garcia have been producing extra base noise. Perez's veteran RBI profile and Garcia's gap power make them my first look TB and RBI props. Those are the tickets I want in small, repeatable units rather than one giant rocket parlay. Market texture and tactical structure. Books currently treat this as a coin flip-ish affair with KC holding slight edge because of bullpen and recent form. Totals are floating in the mid to high 7s depending on the shop. That's classic starter-driven territory. My primary, low variance target is under the total. Look for 7-7.5, two starters who can manufacture strikeouts and a bullpen discrepancy that often suppresses late scoring. My side lean is Royals moneyline in small to moderate units. Ragans' recent 10K bounce and KC's bullpen depth tilt the risk-reward toward Kansas City at a reasonable ML price. If the Angels are posting closer to plus 120 or better, there's value on small split units for law, but I'd rather play the props and the under than overpay for an Angels ML. My preferred props and how I size them. Cole Ragans over 5.5 kiloseconds, small to medium unit. He's flashed 10Ks and the upside is real when he's healthy. Salvador Perez over 0.5 RBI, small unit, veteran RBI upside in favorable abs. Mike Trout over 0.5 hits, small unit, low volatility, repeatable. Yusei Kikuchi over 4.5 kiloseconds is a contrarian cash if Kikuchi's K line is soft, tiny unit. For total bases plays, look for Michael Garcia TB over and any Angels slugger with a plus matchup in the middle innings. Keep prop units small relative to your main ML underexposure. That's how you smooth variance. SGP, parlay ideas that balance risk. Conservative 2-leg, under plus Ragans over Ks ties starter performance to tempo. Balanced 3-leg, Royals ML plus under plus Perez RBI outcome plus tempo plus player. Aggressive 4-leg, small unit, Royals ML plus under plus Ragans Ks plus Trout hit. That's correlated but adds volatility, only use a tiny unit on it. Live pivot rules. If Ragans is removed early or shows high early pitch counts, hedge into first 5 markets and trim ML exposure. If Kikuchi's K market shortens pre-lock, it's a sharp tell to buy correlated Angels props and first inning runs. And always check for scratches and late bullpen news. 90% of last-minute value comes from those whispers. Final red. I expect a tense, low to mid-scoring game framed by Ragans' health and Kikuchi's command. My money is on the under for units and Royals ML for outcome exposure, with targeted prop tickets on Ragans Ks, Perez RBI, and Trout hit lines for extra edge. Size aggressively only when starters clear 5 with control, otherwise, keep the playbook tight and let the small, repeatable edges compound into profit. Cash the clean edges and don't get cute. That's how you win over time. Tonight's matchup between the Seattle Mariners and the Colorado Rockies sets us up for a classic altitude versus depth showdown. Logan Gilbert for Seattle squaring off against Peter Lambert for Colorado, and that contrast in pitcher profiles is your profit engine. Gilbert has been among the more consistent big league arms this year, with a SUB 4.00 era, solid K, BB rates, and the ability to eat innings on a night he's locked. Lambert, while serviceable, gives you more volatility, more HR risk, more rope to be walked up by a deep Seattle lineup. That asymmetry pushes the lean into Seattle's favor, especially when overlaying bullpen and battleground park contexts. The Rockies' bullpen, especially at altitude, tends to bend. Colorado's relievers have allowed backbreaking long balls when the air is thin, and their ability to hold leads late is tenuous. Seattle's pen, by contrast, is deeper and more battle-tested. They've shown they can bridge innings and close tight games with consistency. If Gilbert exits in the 6th with a lead, Seattle's bullpen should carry weight. If Lambert gets knocked early, Colorado's bullpen may not sustain the damage control necessary to keep Seattle at bay. That bullpen discrepancy magnifies every early inning margin. It tilts strategy toward getting the lead early or correlating props to starter dominance. Offensively, the value is in prop attack more than full game totals. Seattle's offense is built for depth. Hitters like Julio Rodriguez, Eugenio Suarez, Ty France, and Jarred Kelenic offer consistent upside in total bases and hit props. At Coors Field, power carries. Even a less than perfect inning can turn into 2 runs with one swing. On the Rockies' side, Dom Nunez, Brendan Rodgers, and Ryan McMahon still command respect in those spots where they face fatigue arms. But when Gilbert is right, his ability to suppress hard contact limits big hits, so the bigger edge lies in high frequency, lower variance props like total bases or top order hits instead of long shot homers. The betting markets are projecting Seattle as a modest favorite, with ML odds in the -130 to -150 range, and total lines creeping upward into the high 9s or even low 10s because of Coors Field's inherent run environment. That suggests books are factoring in Coors stronger than usual but balancing it against Seattle's pitching quality. But with a pitcher like Lambert on the mound, the real value lies in under, first 5 and correlated starter props, not big run line bets. The move by sharps will likely lean on total suppression, while public money will drift toward Coors favorites and big lines. My lean. I back Mariners moneyline in a midsize allocation. The seam between bullpen strength and pitcher matchups gives Seattle a legitimate edge. My main statistical play is under 10 runs. Despite Coors, a locked Gilbert has as much ability to shrink run space as altitude has to expand it, especially with the bullpen mismatch. For props, I'm gunning Julio Rodriguez over 1.5 total bases, Gilbert over 6.5 kiloseconds, Jarred Kelenic over hits, Dom Nunez home run as a flyer, and McMahon RBI over lines where posted. Also consider Rogers over total bases. If Seattle's pen starts leaking in the late innings, those middling Rockies bats get shaky value. For SGP parlay legs, my conservative 2-leg is Mariners ML plus under 10. A more balanced 3-leg is Mariners ML plus under plus Gilbert over Ks, correlating the starter's output to run suppression. If you want high upside, 4-leg, Mariners ML plus under plus Gilbert over Ks plus Julio TB over is a good mix of team and prop. As always, don't stack 2 long-shot legs together, keep 1 volatile leg max per parlay. For lower variance play, pair first 5 under with starter K prop, that gets your feet wet early while you watch game flow. Live pivots to watch. If Gilbert's K line shortens pre-lock, that's a sharp money cue. Double down on correlated TB hit plays. If Lambert's earned run line inflates, it suggests books expect early damage. Adjust by trimming ML and beefing up prop exposures for Seattle. Monitor bullpen arms on the bench and availability. Any late inning arm whispers or scratch news tilt late value. Also watch early inning scoring. If the first 2 frames are quiet, that increases the probability the total holds under. Final take. Coors games always carry noise, but tonight's edge is on execution. I say Mariners ML, under 10, with exposure to Julio TB, Gilbert Ks, and conservative prop plays. Parlay the correlated legs smartly and scale up or hedge based on first 2 innings. Ride value, keep risk tight, and let the process make your bankroll. That's gonna wrap up our MLB picks and predictions for this jam-packed slate. If you enjoyed the breakdowns, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single free pick all season long. Let's cash some tickets together and I'll see you on the next one.